I have a document right here, which is created by using OpenOffice, which is a software used to create documents. And what do I have inside this document is text and image, all of that considered as content. And in order to manage the style, or in order to change the colors and to add the position in all of these images and all of that, so we use a software and we use OpenOffice. Then when you finish editing the file, you just save the file by using a name, which is the first one, and by using also an extension. And this is the name and this is the extension. What if we want to have the same result, but from a browser? You can't open this brochure.odt file from a browser. So this is why we need a language that can help us to create a file that can be previewed from a browser. And what is exactly a browser? A browser is, for example, in our case, we are using Google Chrome. We have some other ones, Firefox, Opera. So it depends on the software you are installing. But a browser or a web browser is just like a tool. When you open Facebook or Instagram or any other website, it's just a website that is created on a specific server, but you need, in order to open or to visit this facebook.com, you just need this browser. If you don't have a browser, you can't visit this website. Think of this login page that we are visiting like a document. And what do we have inside this document is a logo, which is an image, and we have also another image, and we have text. All of that can be created by using a language which is HTML, which is considered as a hypertext markup language, and it's considered also as the foundation of every website on the World Wide Web. So I can have the same result like this document by creating an HTML page which is brochure, and by using HTML instead of creating a document by using OpenOffice. And this page, if we take a look here, this is the page. Okay, let's just open brochure. So this is the page, brochure.html, and if we open this HTML code, we'll just find out that there is a code inside the page. And what is inside the page is just tags. And these tags are used depending on the element that you want to insert. For example, if you want to insert an image, you will use a specific tag. And if you want to create a title, you use a specific tag. But in general, don't focus on the styling, because the styling isn't done by using HTML code. HTML code is just responsible for structuring the content. So the content can be text, can be image, it can also be video like this one. And if you want to just take a look of a page without CSS, I just go here and remove the CSS code. Don't focus on the code. I'm just showing you the basics here. And you take a look here, you have the code or you have the page without the styling. So HTML is responsible for putting the content inside the page, not for the alignment, not for the colors, not for anything related to the style. CSS is the language responsible for the styling. You will not go through CSS in this course. You will go through HTML and you will learn how to put content within an HTML page. What to take from this lesson? So in order to open an HTML page, you have two ways. So if you want to preview the result, you need to use the browser. And if you want to open the code, you just need to install an editor, a text editor. It can be Visual Studio Code, Notepad++. It depends on the software, and there is multiple of choices. But we have text editors, simple ones, and we have this IDEs like this example where I'm using Visual Studio Code, which has some features and like highlighting, autocomplete, and some other features that can be interesting. But in general, you can install any text editor you want to use. And if you want to just install Visual Studio Code, feel free. It is free to use. Just go and do download VS Code. And it can be installed for Mac operating system users, Linux users, or even Windows users. Feel free to use any IDE. For me personally, you will find me using Visual Studio Code through the whole course. As we already learned, that HTML is just a document with a name and an extension, and this extension is .html or .htm. Okay, let's just create a new folder. I will go for an HTML simple. Then I'll create a new file. To create a new file, I will just drag the folder into the IDE. I'll use Visual Studio Code to create new files. Okay, I will drag the folder into Visual Studio Code. Now I can create a new file. I will create a new file and I give it a new name. For that, I will go for page, then extension .html. And this is what do we have. We have a page.html page that you can edit its code by using Visual Studio Code. and you can preview this result by using the browser. Okay, let's just drag this page into the browser. So you can use any browser. In my case, I'm using Google Chrome, use Firefox or any other one. Okay, when I drag this page, I have a blank page. I have nothing because I don't write any code within this page.html. I need to edit that, then I can see the result. So the text editor is used to add the HTML elements, and this browser is used to preview the result. HTML is a hypertext markup language, which means that we use tags to add elements within a page. And for example, if I want to add a paragraph, there is the syntax for that. To create an element, we use a tag. And to create a tag, there is a terminology, or there is a simple syntax. So the first tag is we use the left angle bracket, then the name of the element, then the right angle bracket. Okay, left angle bracket, the name of the element you want to add, then the right angle bracket. So in general, the text needs to be closed in order to define the end of the element or the end of the tag. And to close the tag, we use the same syntax. So the left angle brackets, the right angle brackets, the name of the element, but we need to add this forward slash. I'm not defining anything here. If I'm just save the file and refresh the page, I have nothing because this is considered as an HTML tag. I need to add a paragraph. Okay, let's just add a paragraph and save that. By using this syntax right here, I'm creating a paragraph, and this is the start of the paragraph and this is the end. If you don't close that, so the browser will not know the end of the element. You need to close the tag to define that this is the end of the paragraph. For example, if you want to create another paragraph, you just need to copy that and use the start and the end to define this is the start of the first paragraph and this is the end. This is the start of the second paragraph and this is the end. And if I refresh the page, you will see two paragraphs. We can use attributes for this text. And what is exactly an attribute? Okay, but first, let's just use an attribute for this character right here. I will use the tag A, then I will close this tag. And by using A, I'm creating an element which is a link. By using this A, I'm creating a link. This link needs an attribute to define how this link, okay, this is click here. Okay, let's just use click here. Once I'm clicking here, I want to go to another page. And by creating this element, I'm creating a link, but it needs an attribute. And to create an attribute, you just need to use the name of the attribute. So we have href. So what does href mean exactly? It just will put the link inside this attribute. So you are not here defining the name because this name, they already exist. And this name is specific for this tag. You can't use this href inside the P because we have the global attributes that you can use in any tag, and we have the specific one. So in our case, this href is the specific attributes that can only be used within this A tag. Okay, we create the attributes by using the name, use the equal sign, which is considered as the assignment symbol. Then inside this code, you can define the value of the attributes. So this href attribute accept the link, and this link will be Google. Okay, let's just add this link. Save that, refresh the page. Now I have an element by using this tag, and I use an attribute, and I define a value to this attribute, which is a link. Now if I click here, you will see that I'm redirected to google.com. Okay, let's just return to the previous page. You see me here using a tag within a tag, which we'll call nesting element. And by using that, I'm just nesting an element within an element. So this paragraph is considered as the parent, and this link is considered as a child. And to do that, we have some rules, and it depends on the case you are dealing with, but in general, so for example, if I want to just nest a paragraph within a link, so this is not allowed. We have some rules for that we will discover in the next lessons. What do we have here is the basic HTML structure, and to have an idea about this structure, think of it like a tree. And if you see the drawing here, or the line that I'm drawing is like a tree, and so this is the parent and this is the child. Okay, let's just go one by one. So what do we have here as the first line? So the first line is including the HTML version, and this doc type is dependent on the version you want to use. But in general, this doc type is just telling the browser that we are dealing with an HTML version 5. Okay, now after that, we have an HTML tag, and you can't imagine any page without this HTML tag, because this HTML tag is just the entry point of the document and just telling the browser that this page is an HTML page. And this attribute used here just to tell the browser that the content within the page will be in English. Okay, and I'll just move on. Now we have the head. Think of a real human body. You can't have a body without the head. But in general, so in our case, so this head will include some information about the page. And this information will be used not only by the browser, but also with search engines like Google, Bing, or any other search engine when they will find out some important information about your page. So in our case, we have a title here, and this tag title will include this page example, and this page example will be displayed here at the tab. We have also a meta charset that is used for the encoding. If, for example, you are using French that has some accents in some characters, or if you are using Arabic, maybe the value of the charset will be different. The other main part here is the body. And what is exactly the body? The body will include anything that will be shown for anyone. It's like public content that anyone can see. So you don't have to go to the source code in order to see this title and description. But you don't have to see this P or any HTML tag because all of that is rendered by the browser. Okay, this is the basic structure. Every HTML page should have this doc type wall, which will tell which version we are using, should include the HTML tag, which tells that this is an HTML page, and the head. You can't remove the head. If you remove a head, it's like a human body. If you remove the head, the body will not function. And the body also should exist. Okay, anything here. So the thing in red and yellow should exist. But the thing in green here can be changed. For example, the value of this encoding meta can be changed to another value. So this value of these attributes can be changed. The title value can be changed, but you can't remove the title tag because once you remove the title tag, the browser will not know exactly what is the title of this page. And not only the browser, but also the search engine that I already said. And these are some other ones that you can see here. So it depends. Maybe you can have the description for the search engine to have a specific description about the page. So you can also have some other ones. And we have also here the body. The body, you can't remove it. So head and the body can't be removed. But anything in green here can be updated. You can even remove all of that and the page still render without any problem. But once you want to just update this content, so you can update it, feel free to do whatever you want and we'll learn some of the elements that you will include inside the body. So just think of that like a tree. We have the HTML. Within the HTML, we have the head, and the two parts can't be removed. They are the main part. They can't be removed. And anything within the head is used to tell the browser of some of the important information or how the page should be rendered. And if you have to add videos or if you have to add images, all of that should be within the body. Another interesting thing about the head, for example, if you want to link the page to a CSS style sheet, which will be used to style your pages, you can use a tag link in order to link an HTML page to a CSS file. We have also a JavaScript tag, which will allow us to link a JavaScript file to a HTML page in order to add some interactivity. And this is just the basic structure. You will find out that you are using the same structure in any HTML page. And if you want to take a look to the HTML code of a specific website, you can just visit this WordPress.org. And to take a look of the HTML code of this page, you can just use right click, then view page source. And you have an idea here about the HTML code used. You can take a look to the structure of the HTML page of this home page. The other solution is just use right click again and click on inspect. So because I'm using Google Chrome, so this is Hungarian, I can use the developer tools of Google Chrome. But if you are using Firefox or any other browser, you can have something different. But in general, if you are using Google Chrome, you can just use right click, then inspect, and this window will pop up and you can take a look to the HTML code. You can even develop all of the trees and take a look on the code and the structure of all the elements within the page. We'll go through an example of writing the head code and we'll do that manually. But the first thing you need to define the type of the document. For that, you'll use this tag, then HTML, and it will wrap all of the code within this HTML tag. Now, let's just write the head first. So this is the head. And for the second tag, we'll go for the body. Okay, let's just add a simple paragraph and then we'll go for a fake text. So this lorem here is just a fake text. And I refresh the page. I'm not defining the title on the head, and this is why we have this page.html title, because by default, if you don't define the title within the head, it will use the name of the page. In our case, the page is page.html, and this is why we have this page.html on the title. For that, let's just define a title manually, and I'll add the title tag within the head. Then I will go for a home page as a title. Save that, refresh the page. and we have a home page instead of page.html. So this head is missing the page character encoded meta tag. So for that, I will go for meta, then trusted, and I will use the default one, which is the UTF-8, and save that. Now, if I refresh the page, you don't see any change. Let's just copy an Arabic word within the page. Okay, I'll just copy that here. Refresh the page, there is no problem. The word is shown correctly. But what if I change this UTF-8 to another one? I will go for the ISO 8859 and 1. Now, if I refresh the page, you see these bizarre characters. And this is what the process is doing exactly. It's just changing the character encoding of the page. Once I use this one, so the character are not shown. So even if I use a French word and I will go for this word right here, so you will see that the first character is not shown because it's a special character. So for that, once I just move to UTF-8, so it will just show the character correctly. And this is just a simple example on how a meta tag can control the output of the rendered result from the browser. Now we'll use a meta tag which is used to describe the content of the page. So we'll go for meta, then name and description. Now the content of the meta name description or the content of the description should be here. The description should be explicit. Okay, let's just go for this is a home page. Save that. But the result of this meta name description will not be shown here. This meta name description is used by search engines to define what your page is about. Now, if I just move to Google and type quantum computer, this is just a keyword. I'm trying to find something on Google, and let's just click on this link and I will view the source of this page, view the page source. Okay, let's just move to Google again. Let's just open that side by side. This is the article. Once I just type quantum computer on Google, I have some information here. I have the title, the link, and the description. So the title is the title from the tag title. And this is what I have. What are quantum computers and how they work? And this is what I have, the same title. And this meta name description, so I have a description here. And this is the same as the description from the search engine. So this is what the description is used for. It's just to give some information about the page or to describe the content of the page. Then the search engine will know exactly what this page is about. And if you take a look at this source, you will see that there is multiple meta tags used, and they are just used to provide metadata about the HTML document. Don't focus on all of them, just focus on what you are using here, and in order to just have this simple result, and for sure you will learn from some other ones in the future. Before I write any code and we start learning about headings, so I really suggest to install this extension, Headings Map, which will see me using it in this lesson. Okay, let's just first open a website, abra.com, and we'll try to analyze it by using this extension. Okay, once you just install the extension, you will have an icon right here. Just click on that. Then you will have a structure here. And from this structure, you will find out that there is some numbers, 1, 2, and 3. And what these numbers means exactly, so they are structured by the most important of the most significant heading. Okay, let's just click on this first one and you will see that I have to move the way you want. This is the only title that have 1. Why? Because this is the most important title of the most significant heading on this page. Now let's just show this 1 and 2 and 3 what they are exactly from the code. Right click, then inspect. Let's just move that to the right by clicking here. Go to the right. Now click here to select an element from the page, then go to the title. And if we take a look, this is an H1. And these numbers are used for the heading. So 1 means H1, 2 means H2, and the ones on green, they are H3. As I already said, it depends on the importance. Okay, if we take the same one here and go to another title, we will see that this is an H2. And if we go to the next one, you will see that this is an H3. Let's analyze another website by using the same extension. Okay, you click on the extension to show the outlines or to show the structure. Then you open developer tools by clicking on inspect. What do we have from the structure? We have only one and multiple tools, which means only in each one. Now let's just select that to see that this is the one, each one, and the others are H2s. Okay, let's just go to them. Just click here and go here and you'll see that this is an H2. But why we have in the structure, if we just take a look at the website, you will see that this article is the most important one. This is why they used each one for this specific article. But for the other ones, they are the least significant. And this is why we have twos. And to summarize all of that, headings are used to highlight the most important information on a website. And they use some levels. So we'll start from H1 to H6. The most important information will use the H1 and the least one will use the H6. We'll move the code and we'll see how you can write that. And the structure is used for the user in order to see the most important information on the page, and not only for the user, but also for search engines, so to know what is the most important information on a website. Okay, let's just write the code. We'll go for the first one, which is h1, so left angle bracket and h1, and we'll close that by using the right angle bracket, and we'll use the title. For example, this is the most important title. This is the most important title. And we close that by using, again, the left angle bracket and the name of the element, and the right angle bracket and a forward slash to close the tag. Refresh the page, and we have this is the most important title. Okay, let's just add another title by using the same heading, but now we're using h2 title 2. Okay, let's just copy that and do the other titles quickly. Okay, refresh the page and you will see that we have 6 titles, which means 6 levels. And if we take a look here, we have the each one, which is the most significant one that has the bigger or the larger size. And for the less significant one, which is the H6, and this is the one which is the smallest one. But just take in mind, we're not using HTML to control the size of this heading. You can control all of that by using another language, which is CSS, that can help you to control the styles. What I have here is a page that has some titles and some content here, and it can be considered as a paragraph. But the problem here, let's just open the inspector and I try to inspect the paragraph. So let's just go first for the headings. So I can inspect the headings and select the element by using the inspector, but I can't select the paragraph, which means that these paragraphs are not considered as elements. And in order to define to the browser that they are paragraphs, so we need to use the p tag. Okay, let's just wrap that. So you use the open tag, then you close the tag by using this forward slash, and I will do the same thing for the other paragraphs. After doing this change and I refresh the page, you'll see that nothing changed here. So I have the same structure, but now I can select the element. So I can go for this paragraph, I can go for the other one. So they are considered as elements. I'm sure that you find out that there is a space here, and it is not the same from the preview. So on the preview, you have a smaller space than the one from the HTML. And there's another important thing here, that this P right here is not opened and closed. And this is why you see this preview here not wrapped in a P paragraph. So for that and to correct this problem, you just need to remove this forward slash, and to refresh the page again, now you will see all of these paragraphs wrapped on the p HTML tag. Okay, let's just return the space problem. Don't think if you just add that manually, so you can have the same results from the preview. So by doing the spaces or adding as many spaces as you want, it will have no effect on the browser. And if you want to add margins, or if you want to add some space between the two paragraphs, you should do that by using CSS and not HTML. So the goal of using HTML is just structuring the element and adding the element within the page, and not managing the margins, all of this stuff. Okay, let's just select a paragraph here, and you will see by default that I have a space at the top and the bottom. So the space are used as the margin top and the margin bottom on CSS by default. So you don't have to define that in order to have these margins. So CSS or the browser has applied default CSS on each HTML document that you are creating. But in general, if you want to adjust this paragraph margins, you need to use CSS, as I already said. But don't focus on that. We are here learning HTML and not CSS. So in order to create a paragraph element, just wrap the text into an HTML p tag. So I have 3 paragraphs from the HTML, but the problem from the preview, I don't have the spaces. I need first to create the paragraphs. So for that, it's very simple. I just need to use the p tag for the first paragraph. And let's just go for the second one. Okay, and let's just go for the last one. Okay, now I have 3 paragraphs. If I refresh the page, I have spaces and elements are separated. And by element, I mean 3 paragraphs separated. But the problem is, what if I want to add a break line inside this? For example, after this scannet, where is this scannet is here. So I just want to add a break line, so then change and go to the next line. So by doing that, I see some people just use another paragraph. Then if I refresh the page, I will have that. But semantically, this is not correct. You need to add a tag so that can assure to go to the next line instead of using this paragraph. And I can even use this, create another paragraph within the same paragraph. And it can lead also to the same result. But this is not correct. So the browser will render the result without any problem, but you need to be logical when you are creating your HTML tags. And for that, you can use the BR tag, which will create a new line. So once you use one BR, so it will create one line. And if you want to create multiple ones, So just keep doing them. Now I have 3 break lines. And this is the correct way to create break lines inside paragraphs. Or if any use case you need a new line, just use BR instead of creating another tag, which will create confusion on the way you are structuring your HTML code. This is a word processor and I have 3 paragraphs. And for example, if you want to select some words and use bold for them to strengthen the word or to highlight a specific part of a paragraph in order to give more meaning. So for example, I just have to get into the word and highlight it and use the B in order to use bold. So you can find this tool on any word processor. And there is another thing, for example, if you want to emphasize a specific part of the paragraph, I want to, for example, emphasize this incredibly easy to download. I just need to go into this italic and I just hit the button and I have this specific style. So you can do the same thing on the HTML. Okay, let's just now use the browser instead of the word processor. I have the preview of this HTML code and I have 3 paragraphs. Then let's just refresh the page. And if you want to just select this WordPress word and strengthen the word by using bold, so there is a tag for that, which is strong. Okay, just strong, go to the word. So it's like selecting the word by wrapping it inside a strong tag. So strong, and you close the tag. I save the page. Then if I refresh the browser, you will see that I have a bold here. It's not only about using strong for words. You can also select any part of the paragraph. I can, for example, use strong to wrap this free and incredibly, and you'll see that I have 3 words they are highlighted or a part of a paragraph, which is highlighted by using the bold. Okay, now how to emphasize a word or how to emphasize a part of a paragraph. So it's also very simple. You can just go, you just have to select a part of the paragraph. Okay, let's just go to the bottom here and I go to this can easily create false. Okay, and I use EM to emphasize the word, and let's just use EM here. Then if I refresh the page, okay, let's just find out that can easily. So this can easily create. So you see that it is emphasized. It's like putting in an italic. So we have also some other ones, and let's just use I again. So it's just like italic, but just forget about this I, use this EM so to find that this is an emphasized element. You have also, instead of strong, you can use B, but I'm just here teaching you to use the new tags instead of using the oldest one. Okay, refresh the page and we have some emphasized text. You can even emphasize a larger part. Okay, let's just use this EM from here. Let's just cut this EM from here and put it at the end. You'll see that I have an entire part of the paragraph which is emphasized by using the EM tag. What are character entities? So we have a list of entities here and I will show you why you should use them. So for example, if I want to use the left angle bracket, which is the reserved character, you'll find out that there is a red color here. Why? Because it is a reserved one. So this left angle bracket is used by HTML, even the right one. But if I save the code, you will not find any problems. It is rendered very well. Okay, let's just see that. So you see here that the left angle bracket is rendered by the browser without any problem. But what if I want to display the character, the left angle bracket and the right angle bracket? If I save the page, you'll see that it's considered as a paragraph, even if it is not closed, but it's considered as a paragraph. But this is not what I want. I want to display it as a character. For that, we have character entities. And to display this character, this left angle bracket, we can use this entity name. And if we take a look at all of these entity names, you will find out that they start with ampersand, then the name of the entity, then the semicolon. Same for any entity. Ampersand, the name. Okay, let's just use this less than. Okay, now I just need to replace that with ampersand LT, then semicolon, and you'll see that if it's in blue, because it's considered as an HTML entity, it will not give you any red color because it's not considered as an error. Okay, save that, refresh the page. You'll find out that I have this left angle bracket or this less than, so we render it correctly with the browser. Now, if I just do the same thing for the right one, and which is greater than, I can use ampersand GT, then semicolon. Okay, let's just go for that. Ampersand GT, semicolon, refresh the page, and if you take a look, so I have it is rendered very well. So this is the difference between that and that. So by doing this format, so you'll just define that I want to display the characters, and by doing that, it will be considered as a paragraph and it will render it as a HTML element. We have also another use case of HTML entities. So for example, if there are some characters that you don't have on your keyboard, so for example, descent or copyright, you just have to use this entity in order to display this copyright in your HTML code. And for that, you'll just go here to this part, copyright, then I will write ampersand, then copy, and semicolon. So as I already said, every HTML entity start with ampersand and end with the semicolon. Save that, and you'll see that I have a copyright right here. And this is the character. I'm displaying a character that I don't have on my keyboard by using an HTML entity. There are multiple ones, so you can test them. And there's also another website that can display all of that. And there's a list of them. So as you see, you have some characters that you can't find on your keyboard. And this is why copying the HTML entity can be useful depending on the use case you are dealing with. I have a paragraph here and I want to add some spaces before this it. Now, even if I save the HTML code and I refresh the browser, you will find out that I have only one space instead of multiple ones, which they are from the HTML code. Now, the question is how I can use multiple spaces and shown on the preview from the browser. For that, there is an HTML entity. Okay, let's just go to this website again. And you'll find out that I have an HTML entity in VSP that I can use. And one in VSP means one space. Okay, let's just go to the HTML entity here and you'll find out that I have this non-breaking space and entity name, which is NBSP, and I can use the code. Okay, let's just go here and remove all of that. And instead, I will use the first thing is ampersand NBSP, then semicolon. Save that. Okay, let's just copy that. I will use multiple ones. Okay, let's just go for 3. Then if I refresh the page, you'll find out that I have 3 spaces instead of 1. Now, you can use as many spaces you want, but you just need to define this HTML entity, which will be replaced by a space on the rendering result from the browser. So in general, managing the spaces can be done with CSS, but in our case, we have only one element and we want to add some spaces before a specific text. So for that, we can use the HTML entity instead of managing that by using CSS. How to place an image within this HTML page and display it from the browser. And to do that, there is a tag img. And this tag doesn't need to be closed like that. You just remove that. So it doesn't need to be closed like the paragraph or strong or any other HTML tag. So this img needs attributes in order to find out where the image is located. So after we create the tag, there is an attribute which is required in order to find out where the image is located. And this attribute is CRC. And by CRC, I mean so that I need to place the content of the image right here. And by content is the URL of the image. And what I mean by that, if we take a look here, I have an images folder and I have some images within this images folder. Let's just use the name within the image. I go for pineapple.jpg. Now, if I save that and I refresh the page, you'll see that I have something here, which means that the image doesn't exist. Why? Because the URL or the value of CRC is not correct. Because pineapple is within an images folder and I'm just placing pineapple.jpg and not the images folder. Because if we take a look at this HTML page, you'll find out that it is at the same level as the images folder. So the first interesting thing to do here is I need first to enter to the images folder. Okay, let's just do that again. I remove that. I need to enter first to the images folder. Then I place the image and save that. And if we take a look here, I have the result as an image. Now let's just go and place the other image. So in this case, I will go for pick, trolley, then save that. And you'll see that this is the new result with the new image. But be careful with the name. For example, if I just change the name, which it doesn't exist. So because I need to be careful with the name and I refresh the page, you'll find out that I have this picture right here, which means that the image is not found. Okay, let's just return to the real name. Now I have the image displayed. So just need to access to the folder, then put the name which needs to be correct. There are some other attributes that you can add to this image tag. Okay, let's just go for the next one, which is alt, which helps us to add a descriptive text for the specific image. Let's just add a text that can describe this image right here. Okay, I'll go for vacation home. Now, if I save the page, so the text will not be displayed within the page. However, if you want to take a look to that, okay, let's just remove the page, or I change the name to something that doesn't exist because this picture truly doesn't exist. Okay, when I refresh the page, you will find out that the content of the alt is displayed. Okay, let's just return the image. Then this alt is used not only for the purpose if the image is not, it doesn't exist, but this alt is also used for search engines to define what this image is about by describing it using vacation home. So once someone will just type vacation home on Google Images, it will find out this image right here. We add the image and we define the URL of the image. Then we add the descriptive text about the image. And there's also some other attributes that you can use, but they are not required. So for example, if you want to control the width and the height of the page, so you can use width. Okay, let's just use width and I will go for 300, and I can also go for height and I'll go for, so you can use both the width and the height. Or for example, if you want to remove this height and save that again, you'll find out that it's taking no effect. And I can go and I remove the width. I will only have the height and control the height to 100. As you see, so I'm just using one value, which is height or width. But in general, the size is controlled by CSS and its attributes are not required. When the designers start creating the theme of a website, you just need to group all of the elements in a specific group. So think of that like we have a navigation here that includes the logo, we have a hero, so this can be considered as the header. We have also some sections that include status projects, company, and contact. And we have a footer at the bottom. By doing all of that, you just regroup the elements. So by using a software like Photoshop, Sketch, Adobe XD, or any software responsible for creating themes, after the design is finished, the next step is writing the HTML code following the same structure. So if we have, for example, a header here, and if we have sections, so you need to follow the same structure by writing an HTML code that follow the same organization. And we have HTML tags that help us to do that. And let's just go to the category of these tags. So we have flow content and we have section and content. For example, for flow content, we have the footer, header, and main. Okay, let's just go to the design and see that. Okay, well, return to design. We have footer and the footer will be at the bottom. We have header and the header will be at the top. Once you find out that there is a header, you need to use this header tag. And we have main, and the main will group everything in this page, which will group the sections. So depending on the use case, so this flow content tags, footer, header, and main are used to group section and content. And for the section and content, depending on the use case, for example, you can have article and we can have a side, nav, and section. Now let's just see that in a real example. So I have a flow of content, which is footer and header and main. You'll find out the header. Right click, then inspect, and this is the header. So we have the header at the top, and let's just find out the second one, which is footer, and this is the footer at the bottom of the page. So we use this tag. And for the last one, main, let's just find out for main. So we have the main that will group all of the sections. Let's just put that at the right to see that. Main, so that will group everything. We finished with flow content. Now we'll move to section and content. This theme right here includes nav and section and not the other ones. Okay, let's just find for nav and section. I'll go for nav and you'll see that the navigation is selected and we use the HTML tag nav in order to create a navigation. And for the second one, we'll go for section. And I have three ones, not only one. So the first one, okay, this is the first section, the second section, and the last one. Why we don't have this aside and article within this HTML code? Because we don't need that in this use case. This is not a blog and we don't have articles. And if we take a look at Smashing Magazine website, when we have some articles and we click again on inspect and we try to find for articles, you will find out that I have this tag. Why? Because it is used for the list of articles for the second one, third one, and so on and so forth. So it depends on the use case. So this is a blog. We can use articles. And this is not a blog, this is a website when we have sections. So we use the section and content tags, so depending on the use case. But in general, this footer and header and main, so they are used in the most use cases because every website has a header and has a footer and also has a main. And this is a simple example of a layout that include the flow of content, header and footer. Okay, we have the header here. And we have the footer, and we have also navigation sections and aside. Okay, this is the aside, and we have the articles and we have the navigation. So it depends on the layout or how the designer created the theme. So to summarize, we use flow of content tags and section and content tags depending on the layout we are dealing with. And don't be confused on thinking that these tags are used in order to manage the positioning, because in general, positioning is the job of CSS and not the HTML. But by using these tags, you are just structuring the element not only for users, but also for search engines. So in order to see the organization of your document. Before I write any HTML code, I have three websites that they have a navigation at the top. And this is the first website, so I have a navigation here. This is the second one and the third one. Okay, now let's just go to CSS Tricks, inspect the element by using inspect, we'll try to find out if they use the navigation tag. So this is the navigation tag right here. I type nav at the search bar of this inspector tool. Then I have two results because this two here just defined that I have two navs inside this HTML code. And the first one is highlighted in green. We have the links, articles, videos, and the other ones. This nav tag is wrapping all of the links. Click again on enter and you will go to the next one. And if it's at the bottom of the page, and we have another links. And these two navigation tags that we found out on this page, so they are used to define a set of navigation links. Tag navigation is just wrapping the navigation links, and they are represented in a section of a page whose purpose to provide navigation links. And we can have a one nav tag or multiple ones. So in this case, we have in two. Okay, let's just move to smashingmagazine.com and click on inspect again, and we'll search for nav again. And we only have one because I only have one result here, which means one main navigation on this document. All of this can presume that you can use one navigation tag or multiple ones inside the same document. But the set of rule here is not all of the links for a document should be inside a nav element. And if you just inspect this link, you will find out that this link is not wrapped on the nav. So it depends on the context. Because these links are used to navigate through the website, and this link is used to visit the detail of an article. So we have two different contexts. So the question now, what are the links that should be wrapped inside the nav tag? The answer is, if we have a set of links that are used to navigate through the website, and these links are sending into some other pages inside the same website. So for example, I'm visiting here articles, which is another document within the same page. I can wrap these links within the nav tag. And even if some other cases when we have a navigation like this one, when we have just to navigate through a section within the same document, we can also find out that this navigation is wrapped inside a nav tag. Okay, let's just search for nav and you'll find out this navigation is also wrapped inside this tag. And browsers like screen readers for disabled users can use this element right here tag. So to determine whether to emit the initial rendering of this content or not. Now that we have an idea on why to use the navigation tag, let's just move to writing the code. I have a group of links which send to different documents, and these links are used to navigate through this website, so I can wrap all of that within the nav tag. So the nav tag needs to be closed, then I just cut that and paste that here. Now I'm just wrapping all of the links within the navigation. And if I inspect the element, you will find out that I have these links. Okay, let's just navigate through the links. I have all of that within the nav tag. What is an article element? So an article element represents an independent item section or a self-contained content. And some example of the use case of an article tag is it can be used for a forum post, a magazine article, a blog entry, a newspaper article, or even for a user submitted comment. And this is an example of a blog post when we have the heading or the title, the publication date, and the content of the article. We have the three dots which define that you can read more. We have the show comments. So once you decide to show the comments of this article, you just need to click on that. You can wrap all of that within the article tag. Why? Because this content right here can be stand apart or standalone from the other content within the document. If we have, for example, navigation or other tags within the same document, so all of that or this content right here can stand apart from all other elements within the same document. Okay, how to write the code for that? You just need to wrap all of this content of this blog articles inside an article tag. And for that, I will write article. Okay, let's just cut the closing tag and put it at the bottom. Now I have a self-contained article which had the heading, the publication date, and the other information. I can even have a better structure for this article by adding a header, and I will get the heading, the publication date into this header. And I can use time. So we have a tag time. So this can be used for the publication date, but for the value, it will not be inside the time. It will be inside an attribute date time. Then I'll add the value. So I have the publication date and the heading or the title within the header. I can add for the bottom of the article. So for the content, I will leave it like that. But for the bottom, which I have the show comment right here, I'll add a footer. Then I put the link inside the footer. Now I have a better structure for the article, and I'm making my code easier for search engines to read. An article should be identified by a heading. In our case, I'm using the H1, but feel free to use any heading from H1 to H6. But the only rule here is you just need to nest this heading inside the article. Instead of a blog post homepage, so you can have multiple articles at the same page. So in this case, I will just copy this article Then I'll have another one. You can have multiple ones, so depending on how many articles you want to display on the homepage of a blog. So the rule here is you can have multiple articles at the same document. You can even nest an article within an article, and by doing that, so the inner article will be considered as related to the outer article, which can be used for some use cases like comments, or for example, if you want to add some related articles to the same one, so you can nest the element, or you can nest article within an article. So this is the second rule. You can nest the tag article within an article. The first rule is you can use one article tag within the page to stand alone some specific content, or you can use multiple articles tag within the same document. So before we describe how to use the tag section, let's just analyze this website to see how they are using section in their website. Okay, first you click on inspect. Then you click on this icon right here to reduce the size level by 50%. Okay, let's just find how this website is using the section tag. So for that, I type Command F and I have the search right here. Then I'll type section tag and I have as a result 5 sections. And if I highlight the first section, it is used for the latest articles. So any latest articles will be grouped into this section. Let's just move to the next one by clicking on enter again on the search bar. And I have the next one, which is used to group the content of the current conference. Click enter again to move to the third section, and what this section is grouping as content is regrouping the community links. And we have a title that describes that this is a community link, and all of this content within this section is about the community links. Okay, let's just move to the next one. It is used for the future of the book. The next one again, it is used also. So this is the last section, which is the last one. So I have 5 from 5. This is the latest one. It is used for the curated posts. And if we take a look from all of these sections, so you'll find out that we have a title. So we have here a title, the first one. In any section, we have a title. Okay, let's just move to the other one. So the title or the heading of each section is just defining the context of this section, which means that we are organizing this document in sections in order to give context for each part of the document. But the question is, why we are not using another tag rather than this section right here to group this content within this featured book in another tag, for example, a book tag, instead of this section? So because we don't have this HTML tag book, and this is why we are using this section tag to represent a generic section of a document or to represent a standalone section which doesn't have a more specific semantic element to represent it. After we saw how the section tag is used in a real project, let's just now move to the code. Okay, I'll just open this HTML, move it to the left. So let's just move this code, save that. Okay, we'll add the section tag, section. Then each section tag should be identified by including a heading from H1 to H6. Okay, we'll go for the H1, then I'll name it heading. Then, depending on the content you want to include within the section, I'll go for a paragraph. But I'm sure that you're asking yourself that this section right here is similar to article. Okay, let's just move to smashingmagazine.com again. Okay, let's just put it in the full size. What do I have here at the top of the website is an article, and this article is wrapping the content of the article. So I don't have to use, instead of this article tag, a section tag, because the context is not the same. So, but for the other context here, I have the current conference, or I have the conference, so I don't have any conference tag when I needed to wrap all of the content within a conference tag. So this is why in this case, I'm using section tag, which is used to create a generic section of a document. So keep that in mind. It depends on the context. And it also depends on the type of content you are wrapping. If you have a forum post or if you have a blog article, in this case, you will use the article tag instead of section. But if you have a specific content that you want to just wrap inside the generic section, so in this case, you will use the section tag instead of article. So I'm sure that you can be a little bit confused, but even for experienced web designers, so they still have the confusion between where to use section tag or article tag. And to avoid this confusion, once you have a piece of content that you need to group, ask yourself, what is this type of content? If it is an article, just group all of that within an article tag. But in some other cases, if this piece of content is something that's rather than an article, you can in this case use the section tag instead of the article tag. What do I have here? I have a main article, which has an article heading, the article content, a pull quote, and an article content. But the interesting thing here is the pull quote. So I have a pull quote right here, which is related to the main content. I'm using this Q tag right here, which is used to quote content from another source. But there is another tag used in order to contain the content that is only related to the main page content. So this is the main page content, and this is the related quote. And this tag is aside. So we can use the aside tag to wrap this code. And by doing that, we're just adding a part of the content so that it is only related to the main page content. So this is the article content, and this is the related pull quote. And to give a definition to the aside tag, it is an element that represents a portion of the document whose content is only indirectly related to the document's main content. But this aside tag is not only used for this use case. Now we'll go through some other examples so that shows how the aside can be used. So for example, in this case, okay, let's just put that in full size. I open the inspector by clicking on inspect. Then I have two use cases of aside. Okay, let's just search for the aside tag. So the first one is used for the glossary. So this is the main content, and I have the glossary. I'm using here the aside tag. Okay, let's just move again to the next one, and it is also used for the author profile. It can also be used for the author biography, but this author profile, it is the author who writes this article. So this author part of the code, it is related mainly to the article itself. Let's just move to the next one. I have an article and I have a pull quote again. Let's just search again for the aside, and we can use this aside tag in order to create a pull quote which is related to this main content. And for the last one, we use the aside tag in order to create a sidebar, and this is where you can find aside used a lot. So we use the aside tag in multiple examples. So the first one was the pull quote, and the next one was the author biography and the glossary, and the last one is the sidebar. You can find out yourself dealing with another situation when you have to wrap a piece of content inside the aside tag. So it's depend on the content and also on the context. And there's the question that can help you to decide if you need to use the aside tag or not. And this question is, can I remove the content within the aside tag without reducing the meaning? And if the answer is yes, means that you need to find out another tag that is related to the context. But if it is no, just leave the content within the aside tag because it is related to the main content. We use HTML in order to structure the document. In our case, we have an article and we have 3 links. But once you have a piece of content, you need to ask yourself, what is the tag that I can use in order to wrap all of this content right here? Can I use a nav? For sure not. I can't use a nav. This is not a navigation. I'm not using this link in order to navigate through the document or in order to navigate through the website. Can I use the section tag? For sure not, because this is not a section. And section is used to group content relates to a single theme. Can I use an article? No, because this is an article and these are the tag links. They have nothing to do with an article. This is not a forum post. This link that are not used as related articles. And the last question, did they have any other special tag? So for example, tag. I don't have this special element or the special HTML element, and I can't use this other special tag. But why at first I should wrap all of these links within a tag? I can leave them like that. Nothing wrong here. And the answer is I want to divide these elements from the other part of this article content. And the second thing here, when we group all of this link within one element, it will be easier to style this element by using CSS. So we need a tag that helps us to divide this element from the others and to apply the style easily. What is this tag? So we have the tag div. Let's just wrap all of these links within the div. Div is used in general to group the content, so it can easily be styled using the class or ID attributes. And this div is used when there is no other semantic elements so that can be used in order to wrap all of these links. And for people who already use JavaScript, so this div can wrap all of these tags in order to add some interactivity to this specific element or remove it from the document. Okay, let's just create another div after this div. Okay, I'll just add the text here. By default, the browser adds a line break after the div without even defining that from the style. If we just keep creating multiple divs, you will see that I have a line break. So you can control that by using CSS. So just remove all of that. So to summarize, we use div in order to group the content to be easy styled, and when there is no other semantic element, to group the length of the content depending on the content type. So in this case, we need to use div instead of any other special tag. Before we write any code, let's just analyze these three websites and we'll see how they use the header tag in order to analyze what is the content that is wrapped inside this tag. The first thing to do here is you need just to type header inside the search form, then it will select this header tag inside the document. However, be aware of confusing this head and header. They aren't the same. So this head is used to put some information about the document, and maybe you need to use some meta or to link this page into CSS file of JavaScript. But in general, this header represents a container for introductory content or a set of navigation links. And to understand that, let's just highlight the header tag from the document. And if we take a look here, we see three main parts. There's three main parts of the logo and the article, which has some links, which is the navigation and a search. If we click on this topic right here, you'll have the search form. Okay, let's just click on this button to hide the search form. This is what do we have as a header. Let's just move to the next one. After I type header on the search form, I have this header highlighted right here. I have the same elements, so logo, navigation, and search form. This is what is wrapped inside this header tag. And for the last one, we have some elements here, logo, navigation, as the same as the latest ones. The only difference that we have here is a call to action links. We have two links, submit news and sign in, that they are wrapped inside the header. So after analyzing these three websites, we saw that the header can contain three of the most used content. We have logo, search form, and navigation control. And sometimes you can find yourself wrapping an authorship information, for example, name and username and avatar of a document inside a header. And in general, this is what you find out yourself wrapping inside the header. And a header can also contain headings from H1 to H6, but it is not required. Okay, now let's just write some code. What do I have here? I have three main elements. So the first one is the logo, which is inside the image tag. I have some links wrapped inside the nav, which define that there is a navigation. And for the last element, I have the search form, and we'll learn how to use this input tag through the next lesson. So I can wrap all of this element within one tag, which is the header. Okay, let's just write header. Then I'll just copy all of that. Let's just cut that and paste it right here. We have now a header that groups some introductory elements and the navigational controls. If we take a look at this website, you'll see that I have a structure that includes the header, main, and footer. But we want to understand what is the content that should be inside the main tag. But first of all, what this header is including exactly? It is including some repeated content. What I mean by that? So for example, if you keep navigating through the document, so now I'm inside books, so you see that the header still exists on each document. Even if I'm navigating through each link here, let's just return to articles, you'll see that this header is always repeated, which means that the content inside the header is considered as repeated content. So we have the logos, we have the links, and the search form. This type of content can be repeated through the whole website. This is why we wrap it inside the header. But the content within the main should be unique. Now, if I go to books, you will see that I have a different content here inside the main. Okay, let's just select the main again. I have a different content. If I go to events, same here. So the content within the main is different, but the header sticks on each document. It will not be changed. So it's not considered as unique, so it is repeated, but the main content is considered as unique. Okay, so the main element represents the dominant content of the body of the document. And this is why if we have a type of content which is unique, so you can put it inside the main. But once you have a type of content, when you are sure that it will be repeated through the document or through the whole website, so in this case, it shouldn't be inside the main. So this is just a simple structure when we have the header and the main and footer. Now let's just move to write the code. I have some repeated content within the header, so because I have the logo, the links to navigate through the documents and the search form. And this, as I already said, is repeated content, should be wrapped inside the header. I will use this page to list some block articles. For that, let's just create a list of articles. I will use the article tag, article. Then I put a header in each one. Just keep it simple, title 1. Okay, and I put content. Okay, fake content. Save that. Okay, create another article. I go for title 2. I will keep the another article. I go for title 2. I will keep the content the same. Now I have two articles. This is a unique content because I consider this page as used for the blog articles. So if I have 6 or 7, search will just have a list of articles that should be inside this page. This content is considered as a unique content. This is why I just cut that and I will include it inside the main tag because it is considered as unique. And I will just put a comment here, unique content. And this is how you can use this main tag. Now, if I create another page, for example, a home page so that have some sections, so in this case, I can wrap the sections within the main content. What do I have here is some content wrapped inside a footer tag. I search for footer right here. This is the highlighted result. If I select that, you see the whole content of this footer. A footer tag defines the footer for a document or a section. So in our case, we have a footer at the bottom of this page, which is used to define a footer for a document or a section. You will see a result when footer is used inside an article. It can also be used inside the section. Okay, what type of content we have here at this footer for a document? We have a sitemap, which includes all of the links for the smashingmagazine.com website. We have also some copyright information, so that include the year of creation and the creator, and we have some other links that can help. You can consider them as some links that can help you to go through some information about the document or some information about the website. And we can also have this back to top inside the footer. And all of this content is the type of content that can be used inside the footer tag. We can also put authorship information, contact information, or related documents. So it depends. But in our case, this is the type of content used. As I already said, that a footer tag can also be used inside an article or a section. So in our case, okay, let's just find for some other footers right here. And what do I have? I have 11 results, which means that I have 11 footer within the same document. We saw an example of a footer which is used at the bottom of the page to put some information about the document. And this is the footer document. We also have some other ones. Okay, let's just check the first one. This is the first one inside the article tag. On each article, we have a footer. We have multiple articles, which means that we have 10 articles, and all of them has a footer, which includes a reading time and a link. The rule here that you can use several footer elements in a document and not only one. From the previous lessons, we used the header tag in order to include all of the repeated content, and we use the main tag so to include the unique content when I have some articles. At the bottom, I will add the last one, which is the footer, and in our case, I will use the footer for a document. Okay. Footer. We can also use the footer. Let's just put that at the bottom here. Footer. Then I'll add, for example, reading time. 12 minutes read. Okay, let's just copy that and I'll use that on the previous one. Now I have a footer inside the articles. This is the first use case, and the second use case, I use it at the bottom of the page to include some more information about the page. Now we have a well-structured website when we have the header. Okay, let's just collapse that. And we have the main and the footer, and it is well-structured. Links are used to navigate from a page to page, and they are considered as hyperlinks. If we take a look here at CSS Tricks, if I click on articles, you'll see that I navigate through another page. And if I click on another link, I can navigate through multiple documents by using these links. Links are not only limited on text. You can use an image as a link, and you can also use any other HTML element. So in our case, we use the heading as a link. And to find out the element that are linked inside the document, you just need to move the mouse over the element. Now the row is returned into a hand, same for the image and same for the link. But if I go outside, the cursor returns to a row. Okay, how to create a link? So to create a link, we have the tag A, and we need to close it. Now I have an element within the document. If I open the inspector, I have a tag A within, or I have a link. So now I'm creating a link, but I need to define two things here. The link itself, the link that I want to visit, and the visible part of the link. Okay, now I can go for each ref, which is the attribute that specifies the destination address of the link. And then I need to define the link that I want to visit. I will go for google.com. If I save the page and I visit again the document, you'll see that I have no link here. I don't have any visible link. If I just go here and I open the inspector, you'll see that I have a link, but it is not visible on the document because there is something that you need to define within the tag itself or within the E tag itself. So we have the choice to define a text or an image or any other valid HTML element. And I will go for a text Google. Now, if I save the page, you'll see that I have a link Google visible on the document. And if I click on Google, you'll see that I visit the link within the each ref or the value of each ref. Now, let's just go to the previous one. And if I refresh the page, so I have the Google link. I can use an image instead of Google, as I already said. And let's just go for image. And I will define images already exist here. Okay, I'll go for pic, play. Now, if I save the page, so you see that I have an image. And if I click on the image, now the image, it is within the E element or within the link element. Now, if I click on the image, I'll visit google.com. So as I already said, you can use any valid HTML element, so you have the choice. So the value in each ref in this example is an external link, google.com. But I have the choice to use a local address instead of an external link. Let's just remove this image first, and I'll put page 2. So I will create another page, because let's just put the title at the top. I will create another page 2.html so that I need to access to by using this link. Now, I want when I click on page 2, I access to another page within the same folder. I just remove that, and instead of google.com, I will put a page2.html. But the page doesn't exist. I only have page.html. I will copy the content from here. I'll create a new file, go for page2.html, paste the code, change the title, change the heading. Page 1, this is the first page, page.html, which has the content, and this is the result of this page. Now, if I click on page 2.html, I need to go to this page right here. Okay, I just click on the link. I visit page 2. As you see, the heading is changing, and now I'm accessing to that. If I just change the content, you see that this is the content of page 2. So I use the links of this href so to access to a local link, and I define a file that already exists within this folder. This is the page 2. Now I want access to page 1 from page 2, so I will remove that and change the value to page.html. Now I can visit page 1 from page 2. Okay, now I'm within the page 1, and I can visit page 2 from page 1. And this is the way to create a local link, and we use a relative URL without this HTTP www thing that we use on google.com example. And to summarize all of that, we use the tag A to define a link, and the link can be a text, an image, or any valid HTML tag. And we use also this href attributes in order to define the address. It can be a local address. So in our case, when we're using the HTML, an HTML file within the document, or it can be an external link when I put the www.google.com or any other external link. We have two links on this document, and any links will be created within this document will have some states when each state has a specific style. To show the state, you need first to open the inspector by clicking on inspect and select a link from HTML. In our case, I'm selecting services. Then you select style and click on hover here, and you will have the list of state here. I have 5 ones: active, focused, focused within, hover, and visited. All of the state change the style of the link, and they can be controlled by using CSS. To enable a state, you just need to check or uncheck the state from this sorted element state here. So we have some states that apply a default style, and if we check and uncheck them, we'll see that the style of the link will be changed. However, for this hover right here, even if you check it or uncheck it, you will see nothing from the link, because we needed to use CSS in order to see a hover applied. What this hover do exactly is once you hover on the link, you will see that the link will change its style depending on how you are applying that from CSS. Hover doesn't have any default style. Okay, let's just check the first one, which is active. If I check that, you'll see that the color is changing to red, and this is a default. I don't add any CSS style. It's just applied by default. If I uncheck that, so it's returned to the initial stage, which is an unvisited link. Now it is active, and to test active manually, you just need to click on the link without releasing the mouse, and the style will change from underline in blue to underline in red. And for the next stage, if I check focus, you'll see that the outline will change to a 5-pixel border, and this is what do we have here. And if you want to take a look to the CSS code that will be applied when I check focus right here, so this is what do we have. So we have this outline, and this is the 5-pixel border. Don't focus on the styling, because this is not about how to style a state, but I'm just showing you some of the CSS default style when you change the states. And to test how focus works manually, first you need to uncheck that, then click on the document. Now you can use the tab key from the keyboard, and you will see that that services now is enabled and the focus style is used. And to go to the next link, you'll just type tab again and you will go to the About Us. If you want to go to the previous link, use the combination of Shift and Tab. For the visited links, we have a visited stage. If we check that, the style will change to an underline and purple. Visited is used for the already visited page. But to summarize all of that, you can control the style of any element stage by using CSS if you are not satisfied by default styles. I have two links, services and about us, and if I click on each link so I can visit services and about us pages. And these are the pages about us, so have the same links, and the next one is services, so it has also the same links to navigate. Once I click on the services link, this part of the URL defines that we are inside the services page. Same for about us. If I click on about us, the part of the URL is just changing to aboutus.html, which defines that we are inside the about us page. If you keep navigating from page to page, you're still at the same window. The only thing that is changing here is the URL. But what if we want to open this about us link in a new tab instead of the same one? And to control how to open the linked document, we have an attributes target, and to open this document in a new tab, have the value blank. Now, if I use blank as the value of target, so the value has an underscore then blank. There is no space between them. Save the page, click on About Us, see that's open a new tab instead of staying at the same document. So when you use the blank value on the target attributes, you open the linked document in a new tab instead of the same one. Blank is not the only value that can be used for target. We have also self. Self is used to open the linked document in the same window. Okay, if I click in About Us, you see that is opened at the same window. I'm sure that you are asking yourself why at first you should use the target self to open the linked document in the same window. Even if we remove it, the behavior of the link will not change. It will open the link at the same window. And to see the difference, let's just return first this target self, which means that we want to open this link on the same document. Then we have a tag that it is used to specify a default URL and the default target for all the links. Let's just use this tag. We have base, and this is the default URL, and the default target I will go for blank, which means that if I click on every link here, so it will open the link on a new tab instead of the same document. I can even remove this target cell, save the page. If I click on About Us, you see that it's open on a new tab, even if I'm not specifying this target in any of the links. So this base tag specifies default URL and default target for all the links within the document. Okay, if I click on About Us, it will open a new tab. Now, if I use target self, it will not follow this target blank, but it will force the targets to open at the same document by using the self value. Now, if I click on About Us, you see that it's open in the same document instead of a new tab. Don't forget that I'm using this base and the target from the services.html page and not from aboutus.html. So this target doesn't apply on aboutus.html because if you open this page, you will not see any target and any base tag. So don't be confused. Check when you are specifying target if you are coding along with me. We have also the top and the parent values, which they are used to control the frames.html tag, which is considered as obsolete, and it is removed from HTML5. But if you are forced to using them, so the top value is used to open the linked document in the entire window of the full body. So this is the body. And the parent value is used to open the linked document in the parent frame if you are using frame set tag. Normally, navigation are used to navigate through documents. So in our case, we have this home, about, features, and products. And for example, in normal ways, when you click on about, you just need to navigate through the about document. When you click on about, so you need to have this about document. So to navigate to each document, you just need to click on the navigation. But in our case, this is not what we are dealing with. So what we are dealing with in this page is bookmarks. And what are bookmarks exactly? Bookmarks are used in general to allow readers to jump to a specific part of a web page. So in our example, we have a longer page when each part of the page is presenting a section. For example, if I just select here, they open the inspector, so you'll see that I have a section here which is about. Okay, let's just put that longer a little bit. And if I go to the other section, so you see that this is the features. Okay, now this is the features. To navigate through the section, so we have a longer page. And for example, let's just go to products. Those are the products. Let's just find out what is the product is exactly. Okay, section. This is the product section. So forget about the names because they are using some names. They are not 100% linked to the sections, but in general, so this is the section product, and this is what the inspector is telling us. Okay, we have a long page, and to navigate through each section, so you need to do that manually, but this is not productive at all. This is why we need to create a navigation that will help us to navigate through each section by clicking on these links. So for example, if I want to go to the product section, I just need to click on product and just navigate through this section products. Okay. If I want to go to the about, I just need to click on about. So this is not the normal navigation when you just navigate through document, but it is used in our case to navigate through sections. Okay, we get it. Bookmarks are used if we have a very long web page, and they are also used to navigate through sections without scrolling manually. Not only sections, but any part of a web page that you need to navigate through. This type of navigation are very helpful to enhance the user experience. Okay, enough of the presentation. Let's just move to the code. I have a services page. Let's just move that. Refresh the page, that to the right, close the inspector. What do I have here from the HTML code? I have from the HTML code a navigation, articles, about us, and contact, the main part of the page, and I have three sections. Collapse that, three sections. The first one is articles, the second one is about us, and the last one is contact. How to navigate to each section without using the scroll bar. If I click on the links, so it is not navigating to any section. And how to create this bookmarks. First, we need to define how to navigate. So this is the navigation. We need to define the section you want to navigate to. But first, let's just create an ID here, and I will define, for example, articles. What I mean by that. So I just give an ID articles to this section. Now, to navigate to this articles part, I just need to use this hashtag from the href, then the articles. By using this link right here, we'll navigate to these articles. Okay, let's just create the next bookmark, ID, about us. And for the last one, I have ID, contact. Same here, I will use this hash symbol, then about us. And for the last one, contact. Now I have a navigation so that can navigate to each bookmark. So articles, about us, and contact, and I'm defining the IDs on each section. And from the browsers, now if I navigate to about us, you'll see that I go to about us section. And if I navigate to contact, so I'll just go to contact section. And if I visit articles, so just go to section articles. So this is a better way to create bookmarks if you are in a situation when you need to go to a specific part of a web page without doing that manually and without forcing the user to scroll through the whole page. To create a list of items by using HTML, we use the UL tag, then the list tag. Okay, now I'm creating a list of items, what they are considered as an order. Now I'm creating an item. This is the one item, and if I want to just create multiple ones, I just need to duplicate the same ones. And you see this bullet points right here. You can just define the content for the list by going, for example, I will go for a list of colors, red, green, and blue. And from the style, you see here that we have bullet points. The style will change when you are using an ordered list or ordered list. Okay, let's just go now for the next one, which is the ordered list. Ordered list. Same here. The parent will be OL, which means that ordered list. Then the list, still the same, LI, which means that I'm creating a one item within the ordered list. I will go, for example, for a list of animals. Okay, let's just go for lion. So this is the lion, elephant. And this is what do we have as a difference. So this is an ordered list, and we have bullet points. These are the bullet points created here from the HTML. And for the ordered list, we have an ascending counter from 1 to 2. So it depends on how many items we have inside the ordered list. So in our case, we have 2. So we have 1, 2. Same here. This is the result, 1, 2. For example, for this unordered list, we have this 1 and 2 numbers at the left of each item. So we can control the type and the value of these two items by using two attributes. So this type and value, they are attributes that can be used inside this item. So in order to control the value displayed on the left of each item. And for the types, we have lowercase letter, uppercase letter, lowercase Roman numerals, uppercase Roman numerals, and numbers. Okay, let's just go for the first one, which is A. Okay, I'll go for type, then A. Now display the character at the left of each item is a character A. So it doesn't mean that I need to use B here or C or whatever. So even if I go for B or E or any other letter, so it will go to the default one, which is the number. So this E just defined that I want to use a lowercase letter for this item. Okay, for the next one, I will use the same thing. And if I duplicate the same items, you'll see that I have an ascending letter from E to G. Okay, let's just remove all of that. Save that. And if we wanted the letter to be in uppercase, instead of A lowercase, I will use E uppercase. Now I have an EB, duplicate that. You see E, B, C, D to F. For the next one, I have the lowercase Roman numerals. So for that, I will use the I lowercase. Same here, duplicate the items. I have counting on Roman numerals from this one to this character right here. But when I use it in uppercase, I will change this I lowercase to I uppercase. Save that, then duplicate that. So this is what do I have from the symbol to this one. Okay, let's just now go to the last one. For example, if I want to go to the default one, I have multiple items here in uppercase Roman numerals, but for this one right here, I want to go for numbers. For that, I will use 1, which means that search will use number for this one right here, for elephant right here. You can also use this type attribute for the unordered list. Okay, let's just remove these items and I'll remove type from the ordered list. Then let's just copy that and put it at the unordered list. For example, I will go for the next item. Now I have a B, which defines that this is E and B. I'm not using the type for the first one, but once I use the type for the second one here, so just define that this is a B, I can go for the uppercase letter B, and for the next one I will go for the lower Roman numerals. Okay, type and I here, and this is what do we have as a result. This type is not only limited for the ordered list, but you can also use it on the unordered list. This type can also be controlled by using CSS. Using it from HTML can only force the style from CSS. Let's remove all of the types from the unordered list. Then the other interesting thing here is we have an attribute value. I will use it for the ordered list. So let's just go for A, which means that I want a lowercase letter. We'll go for them one, A. Now I have an A and B, but if I just define the value here to be 1 is the equivalent on the letters E. For example, when I go for 3, it will give me C. I can control the values of each item, and I want to just start from C, which is defined 3 is the equivalent of E. If I want to go, for example, for 6, I'll go for F and G. Same here, I can put the uppercase here and A. I'm not defining here the value. This is why it starts from F, then go to G. So ascend in order. Then I can go for type 1 or just remove the type for the next one. Now I have 6 and 7. So you see here, I can control the value of each item. And if I want to put a value here, a default one, without even taking this order, so I can go, for example, for 9. I have no 9. Let's just put a number which is lower than 6. I'll go for 2. So I can define the value manually of each item by using this value attribute.